Yes, in the previous session we have studied about seeds, in detail about the seeds, and in this session we will talk about one very interesting mechanism that we see in the angiosperms, and that is what is called as apomixes. See, we have talked about parthenocarpy. Parthenocarpy is the technique of production of fruits without fertilization. Similarly, apomixes means it is a process, it's a special mechanism in which seeds are produced without fertilization. Yes, seeds are produced without fertilization. You may wonder, see, all this ago, until now we have been talking that the seed is the ultimate product of sexual reproduction. It is the ultimate resultant of sexual reproduction. So all that we have spoken. But now we are saying apomixes is a special mechanism where seeds are produced without fertilization. Yes, this can happen naturally, and sometimes it can be artificially reduced in some plants. So in plants belonging to the family Asteraceae, and in some grasses means Poaceae family. So in these families and in other plants also, this kind of mechanism is commonly observed, where seed is produced without the fertilization happening. How it does happen, we will look into that later. But see, as the seed is the ultimate product of sexual reproduction, but seed is produced here without sexual reproduction. So when there is no sexual reproduction, obviously this mode of reproduction will be called as asexual reproduction. But because the seed is produced, we can say it is a kind of asexual reproduction that mimics or that resembles sexual reproduction. I hope you understand, because the production of the seed is there in this case, but in the absence of fertilization, in the absence of sexual reproduction. So that is why it is a form of asexual reproduction that mimics sexual reproduction, that resembles sexual reproduction. Now we will come to that point, how this seed can be produced without fertilization. There are different mechanisms. So in one of the mechanisms, especially in the Asteraceae members or in grasses, what happens is that diploid egg is formed without undergoing the meiotic or reductional division. See, you know the mechanism how the egg is produced. We have learned this during the production of the egg. That means here, this is the ovary. Within the ovary, the ovule will be there, and within the ovule, see, you know that within the ovule, exactly the center of the ovule, there is a undifferentiated mass of cells, and that tissue we call it as nucellus. So here, this mass of cells will be called as nucellus. And you know, one of the cells of the nucellus, not all the cells, one of the cells of the nucellus. Before we go any further, you should know nucellus will be having all cells diploid in condition. All the cells in the nucellus are diploid. So one of this nucellus cell that is present very near to the micropyle will grow bigger in size, and that cell which grows bigger in size will be called as megaspore mother cell, right? So this is the process of megaspirogenesis I am talking about now. So this one big cell will grow bigger in size, and it will undergo what? Meiotic division, forming 4 megaspores. Out of these megaspores, now before undergoing the meiotic cell division, this was the megaspore mother cell, which was actually diploid. Now after forming 4 megaspores, each has got haploid set of chromosomes. Out of these 4 megaspores produced, only 1 will remain, 3 are going to degenerate. And that one remaining, when 3 will degenerate, this remaining megaspore will later become the female gamete or the egg. So this is the mechanism that we have understood during the megaspirogenesis or development of the female gamete. But in this case what happens? See, this megaspore mother cell, which is a diploid cell, it will never undergo meiosis at all. The entire diploid cell itself will become the female gamete, which means it will become a female gamete which is diploid in nature, that is a diploid egg. So this diploid egg develops into the seed later without fertilization. So this is one mechanism of apomixes. This means this is one way where apomixes can be caused by this mechanism. So, okay, this is one thing. Then second mechanism, it's a very prominent mechanism, very important for your NEET as well as CET and also for your boards, polyembryony. So it's very important for you to understand what is polyembryony. See here, so inside the ovule, coming to the same point again. So nucleus will be there, and exactly at the center, the mature embryo sac develops. So this we have understood very well. When the embryo sac develops, embryo sac will still be covered by numerous diploid cells of nucellus. Even though after the complete maturation of the embryo sac, there are some cells, there are numerous cells surrounding this embryo sac, and these are nothing but the diploid cells of the nucellus, right? So in this case, polyembryony means what happens? These cells, they will start dividing uncontrollably. They start dividing uncontrollably, and they do not only uncontrollably divide, but these cells, they will start producing their protuberances, or they will start producing or protruding into the female gametophyte or into the embryo sac. See, these diploid cells of the nucellus, because of their continuous cell division, uncontrolled cell division, when these cells, they enter into the female gametophyte or the embryo sac, now what will happen? So obviously, because when they come into this atmosphere of the female gametophyte, they also come into the influence of different enzymes or hormones which are produced within the female gametophyte. Obviously, so now all of these diploid cells which are entering into the female gametophyte will later develop into what? The eggs. And they will later become the seeds. So this is how diploid, eggs are produced, which is nothing but apomixes. So this kind of condition is called as polyembryony. So polyembryony, in simple words, I can say these development of multiple embryo within one embryo sac. Why multiple embryos are produced? It is because of protuberance of the cells of the nucellus, the diploid cells of the nucellus, right? So this happens significantly in the plants such as citrus and mango, Mangifera indica and Citrus medica, right? So these are the species that can be considered as the examples for polyembryony. There is one very important advantage of apomictic seeds, production of apomictic seeds. I told you, apomixes is a natural mechanism in some plants like this. But after studying and understanding the process of apomixes in detail, so various embryologists have come to a conclusion, have come to a decision that we must produce apomictic seeds for the advantage of this seed production. What is the advantage? See, you know that farmers, for getting good yields, they use what? Hybrid seeds. So hybrid seeds are such seeds which are actually produced by crossing two different plants, two native plants. But these hybrid plants, they have got their own disadvantage of not producing the young ones after a generation. That means the seeds will become sterile, or they may also not retain that hybrid inherited character after a particular generation. That means the characteristics will become segregated. So if a male individual is there having a good fruit or a sweet fruit characteristic, this fruit has got a bigger fruit plus sweet fruit, both have been combined. But after a few generations, 1 or 2 generations, these two characteristics will segregate. That means if you develop a plant by using such a hybrid seed, it may either develop a big fruit and sour fruit, or sweet fruit and small fruit. That means original characteristics will be restored once again because of the segregation of hybrid characteristics. And because of this advantage of the hybrid seeds, see, farmers have to get these seeds every year. The farmer has to buy the seeds every year. Hybrid seeds have to be produced every year. That means farmers have to pay a big amount of money in order to get those hybrid seeds, which may become expensive to farmers. But by making use of the mechanism of apomictic seed production, see, if a hybrid seed is allowed to reproduce apomictically, That means, so when we induce apomixes into that seed, so the genetic makeup will not be changed at all because it is not undergoing any sexual reproduction, right? The same embryo within which, so multiple embryos can be produced, by which multiple plants can be produced, right? So apomictic seeds can be produced, used year by year without undergoing any modification or any hybridization. So this is one very important advantage of apomictic seeds, and many researches are going on in this regard in the production of apomictic seeds. So this completes apomixes and polyembryony, and by this we have also completed the chapter, second chapter, sexual reproduction in flowering plants.